In 10 minutes, the Open Door presentation is a pessimistic vision of the future as seen by a group of unemployed young West Indians living in Bradford. But now, with the time at 16 minutes to 11, the late news on 2 with Peter Woods.
Rhodesian forces announced their biggest military operation over the Mozambique border. They say at least 1,200 black guerrillas were killed. The Rhodesian attacks were launched last Wednesday and continued until Saturday. The military communique released today says only one of their own men was killed. It claims that 2 guerrilla camps at Tumbue and Chimoio were wiped out in combined ground and air actions, but it says no regular Mozambique forces were involved.
For days, Rhodesians have known something out of the ordinary was going on, but today's communique exceeded with its dry facts and figures the wildest speculation. This is easily the biggest and most successful operation of the war. The communique said Rhodesian forces penetrated more than 50 miles inside Mozambique because, according to the Minister of Defense, Roger Hawkins, they'd been aware for some time of a considerable build-up of trained terrorists there. But it's hardly a coincidence that at the very time the Rhodesian warplanes were launching their attack, the Prime Minister Ian Smith was announcing his new initiative for a political settlement of the Rhodesian problem, a plan which he knew would be opposed by the black nationalist leaders and their guerrilla followers based outside Rhodesia. Now he struck a devastating military blow against one of those leaders, Mr. Robert Mugabe and his ZANU operation. The effect on morale inside Rhodesia has been electric, and for the rest of the world, it's a restatement of the message that's so often been sent from this country. Don't ever write us off.
From the Mozambique side, official reports tonight discounted the Rhodesian claim. The Mozambique version of the raids is that more than 80 people were killed, mostly women and children. They say that in the Tumbue action in the north, their own forces routed the invaders and 5 Rhodesian soldiers were killed. In the Middle East, Jordan has said she'll only attend President Sadat's Cairo conference if the other Arab states join in. But King Hussein has praised President Sadat's courage in visiting Jerusalem. The United States won't yet say whether she'll go to the meeting. President Carter is to hold a news conference on Wednesday. Only Israel has definitely said she'll be there. After receiving a formal invitation today, the Prime Minister, Mr. Begin, said 2 senior officials would represent his country. The executive of the Fire Brigades Union is seeing the Prime Minister tomorrow at its own request to discuss the strike now in its 3rd week. Our industrial correspondent says it's unlikely Mr. Callaghan will have anything new to offer the firemen, but he will be prepared to listen. The decision to seek the meeting was taken at a gathering of the union's full executive council in London today. Negotiations on the strike have so far been held with the Home Secretary, and Ian Ross asked the union's General Secretary why they had now decided to go to Mr. Callaghan.
You want to see the Prime Minister rather than the Home Secretary?
Oh, we're going to see the Prime Minister. He's agreed to see us. I've no doubt the Home Secretary will be there. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't, but it's the Prime Minister that we're going to see.
But you say that you're seeing him from a position of strength.
I say that we're seeing the Prime Minister to discuss the situation with him, and I'm not going to say one word that could be misinterpreted by Ian Ross or anybody else.
But the strike is still solid?
The strike is still solid. There's no doubt about that.
A scheme to settle the dispute was suggested tonight by leaders of NAFO, the Senior Fire Officers Union, when they met the Home Secretary to discuss their own pay claim. The senior officers are under increasing pressure to support the firemen, and relations between them have worsened. Both unions have the same employer, the local authorities, so a solution could be in both their interests, as NAFO's president explained.
What we have said to the Home Secretary tonight is that there may be a possibility, and he should look at the possibility of introducing the 42-hour week now with a 6-hour overtime to the firemen and to the officers, or mainly to the officers as far as we're concerned, because we are not involved in the firemen's claim. Introduce the 42-hour week, remain on the 48 and pay a 6 hours overtime, and then allow the employers, who are the local authorities, to negotiate with the officers a productivity or a self-financing productivity deal.
Over 100 patients at Dudley Road Hospital in Birmingham were led to safety tonight as troops fought a fire in the basement. It took them just over an hour to put out the blaze, which destroyed files and hospital documents. Shop stewards representing the Outfitters Union at the Tyneside shipbuilders Swan Hunters have recommended that the men should return to normal working. 1,700 men have been banning overtime for 3 months because of a pay dispute. The ban has jeopardised the yard share of the £115 million Polish shipping order. A report from Fiona Johnston.
This morning's meeting between national union officials and the shop stewards was a last-ditch attempt to keep the Polish order on Tyneside. After a week of wrangling, the seriousness of the situation was no longer in any doubt at all. Either the matter was resolved today or there'd be no Polish order at all. After 4 hours of talks, the national executive of the AUEW, Mr. Gavin Laird, had this to say.
At this meeting of shop stewards, recommend a return to normal working by removing the overtime ban to allow the workers' grievances to be pursued through the recognised procedures. Within the time limit set out in the agreement, this will permit the acceptance of the terms and conditions in the Polish order. The 7 ships will most certainly be constructed here in the shipyards in this area, given that our members accept the resolution as put to them by the shop stewards.
2 of the big high street banks have increased their interest rates following last Friday's 2% rise in the minimum lending rate. National Westminster was the first to announce details when it increased its base lending rate by 1.5% to 7.5%. Lloyds has kept its increase to only 1%.